Check me out on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. I am Cam Rogers. You want a shout out on the show? Hit me up in the comments section. I'll be sure to say hello. And we thank you for coming along for the ride here on episode 65 of the program. All right, so talked about best potential free agent additions for the AFC South and NFC South respectively. I've got my top 5 potential franchise tag candidates now. Let's get into number 1. This guy's going to happen. He's going to be franchise tag. There's no doubt about it. Le'Veon Bell, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. $14.5 million if he is indeed franchise tag. He has threatened to sit out 2018 if this does come to fruition. I don't really believe that. He also threatened to retire too, which I definitely don't believe. There's no way he walks and tests free agency. You can certainly forget about that. Maybe there's a chance the Steelers kind of try to work through a long-term deal with Le'Veon Bell. I just don't see it happening. Despite the drama, my suspicion is Bell will be just fine with a franchise tag and a nice little $14.5 million payday. But we do want to hear from you on the Cam Rogers Show. Is Le'Veon Bell worth a long-term deal? Perhaps in this offseason or in general? Let me know in the comments section here on Facebook Live. I would certainly love to hear your thoughts about that. But Le'Veon Bell is my number 1 guy to be franchise tagged this offseason. He's a guy to certainly monitor throughout the coming months as we go through the rest of February, and then March hits and the new league year hits as well, and the window for the franchise tag opens up pretty darn soon this month too. So let me know about Le'Veon Bell. Is he worth a long-term deal? And we have Sherman chiming in the comment section saying, I believe he is. All right, so keep the comments flowing here on the Cam Rogers Show as I get into candidate number 2 to be franchise tagged. Demarcus Lawrence, defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. What a season he had. 14.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and Stephen Jones has recently said that Demarcus Lawrence is one of our top priorities in the offseason. So with that, whether they work on a long-term deal, whether they work on the franchise tag situation, something's going to get done. There's no way he's going to walk and test the free agent waters. I think Demarcus Lawrence is going to be a fixture of that Dallas Cowboys defense for the years to come. You do see at the bottom of your screen, I don't think long-term deal is out of the question here. I think there's a possibility he gets a long-term deal. He does have the same agent as one Olivier Vernon, who got a big-time contract a couple of years ago, so something to monitor there. But this is a foregone conclusion. He's going to remain with the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's with the franchise tag or a long-term deal. That is, the big question mark. But I have him as number 2 in my franchise tag candidates rankings, if you will. By the way, Demarcus Lawrence, the only player in the NFL with 13-plus sacks and 4 or more forced fumbles. So pretty darn good campaign for him. I think, there's a potentiality he could get paid big time this offseason, or maybe the Cowboys want to kick the can down the road one more year. Let's see if we can get one more fantastic season out of DeMarcus and then give him that big fat contract in the offseason of 2019. So we'll see about that. But he's at number 2 in my top 5 franchise tag candidates. Let's get to number 3 now. Lamarcus Joyner, safety for the Rams. So he should be the top priority in my eyes for the Rams leadership. 3 interceptions, 9 passes defensed, a touchdown, and a forced fumble in 12 games. Likely going to cost around $11.5 million in 2018 for that franchise tag, which I think is doable, especially if one Trumaine Johnson walks. Lamarcus Joyner, the number 3rd ranked safety according to Pro Football Focus, so really a fantastic campaign. You got John Johnson there in the secondary as well. I could see a scenario where maybe they re-sign Sammy Watkins, they franchise tag Lamarcus Joyner, and they let Trumaine Johnson actually walk and test free agency. I could see that going down with the Rams there. Look, Joyner's versatility is really, really good, and I think it's really important for the Rams to keep him because of this. Can play center field, but also can creep up and play a little slot as well. Wade Phillips, one of the great defensive minds out there, knows what he has in him. And I think it would be pretty insane for the Rams to let Lamarcus Joyner just walk altogether. I think it has to be a franchise tag. It has to be some sort of extension, long-term deal, however you want to put it. His range is his greatest asset, and Wade Phillips loves rangy players. And I think it would be crazy if Lamarcus Joyner just was not on the team at all. So for the Rams, I think it would make sense to franchise tag Joyner at $11.5 million. It's kind of the hit. There's no doubt about it. He's my number 3 guy in terms of franchise tag candidates. I think Wade Phillips will be in Sean McVay's ear. He will be in the ears of leadership and etc. with the Rams saying, look, we want Joyner. If you want this defense to continue to improve, we need Joyner back there in the secondary. So he's there at number 3. Let's get to number 4 now. Talked about him earlier, Ziggy Ansah. So he's the best potential free agent addition for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if he doesn't get the franchise tag from the Detroit Lions or a long-term deal or an extension. So he's 28 years old, 2013 first-round pick. He's still got a lot of football left in him. I know maybe the injuries could kind of make him a 29-year-old, right? You can kind of up the age a little bit because of all the injuries, but 44 sacks in 5 seasons. He's going to demand a lot of money. Franchise tag would cost approximately $17 million. And you look at, this decade here, at least one pass rusher has been slapped with the franchise tag in every offseason this decade. So Ansah could be that guy to continue that trend. Maybe Demarcus Lawrence is the guy to continue that trend. One of those two is probably going to continue it on. So Ziggy Ansah, I think it would be really important for the Detroit Lions to franchise tag him. He's at number 4. Matt Patricia, new head coach there. Obviously a defensive mind, a very intelligent guy at that. Probably understands the importance of Detroit's improvement on that front 7. Because let's face it, the front 7 was not really good last year, and that was with Ziggy Ansah, who had a good amount of sacks with 12. The secondary is in good shape, but the front 7 needs to be improved. And I think step 1 is to franchise tag Ziggy Ansah and then perhaps address the tackle position, maybe the linebacker position as well for the Detroit Lions. But they need pass rushing help. They need help in terms of stopping the run. They could look elsewhere for that. But Ziggy Ansah, really important for Detroit to keep him. All right, so he's number 4 in terms of franchise tag candidates. Let's get to my final name here, Case Keenum. All right, no, I'm not saying this is going to happen because if you remember my bold predictions on Monday, I have him going to the Big Toaster and playing for the Arizona Cardinals. But there is perhaps a situation where the Vikings keep Teddy Bridgewater and franchise tag Case Keenum for $23.6 million and kind of use him as insurance for Teddy Bridgewater because I really do believe Teddy is going to be the week 1 starter in 2018. And so, look, it's a big investment for Case Keenum to be your backup quarterback at $23.6 million approximately, could be more. So it doesn't make complete sense. Probably makes more sense to tag him if you think he's going to be your starting quarterback, but you guys all know my concerns about Case Keenum, right? With Pat Shurmur leaving and becoming the head coach of the New York Giants, you got to wonder if that's going to hurt Case Keenum's play in 2018, right? Maybe he was just a flash in the pan. You saw these struggles in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I understand that was one game, and in terms of the grand scheme of things of 2017, he had a good season. But Pat Shurmur, moving on, that relationship has now been severed. Case Keenum, I don't know if he is worth $23.6 million to be your backup. But I put him here at number 5 because there is certainly the potential for him to get the franchise tag, and there have been rumblings about it among multiple media members out there. So there you go, Case Keenum as a potential franchise tag candidate. Let's get to my full-on list here to recap. Le'Veon Bell, running back of the Steelers. Demarcus Lawrence, defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. Lamarcus Joyner, safety for the Rams. Ziggy Ansah, defensive end for the Detroit Lions. And then there is Case Keenum at number 5, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. By the way, for the Minnesota Vikings, all of their quarterbacks are free agents. So Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, Case Keenum. Got to make some decisions on all of these guys. Who walks, who stays, who gets the tag, who gets the long-term deal, et cetera, et cetera.